Hi, this is DarkFox127 and welcome to another Skyrim tutorial video. I had a request that I do a tutorial on innkeepers and on blacksmithing or making a blacksmith. So basically I've already got one on innkeeping, that will be in the description. And this is going to be a blacksmith tutorial, so how to create your own blacksmith. So as you know, blacksmiths basically obviously just work at the forge, and they also can sell you blacksmithing items. So what we're going to do, we're first going to just check out this area I've created. This is just my test area. Now you're obviously going to create the person that you want as your blacksmith, so I'm not going to go through that. And you're obviously going to have a blacksmith that you're going to want him to work at, so I won't be going through that either. What I'll be going through is how to make the guy actually do the blacksmithing and sell you blacksmith items. So we've got Shifty Jesus back over here. So he's going to be our blacksmith for today. The first thing we want to do is we want to get the part working which will allow us to actually buy and sell blacksmithing items to him. So if first of all what we want to do is actually get a merchant chest. So you actually want to type in the filter merchant chest. Let's try that. You just want to go to all. As you can see, we've got a number of chests there. We're probably better off just putting in merchant, and we'll go down and we'll actually find another blacksmith if we can think of one. Alvor's one. So yeah, good idea is just type in Alvor and we'll find Alvor's chest. There it is. So you want to just duplicate an existing chest so that you don't have to fiddle with all the blacksmithing items, but you can if you want. If we just go into that chest, as you can see, number of items here. This is basically, in this chest, is what he will be buying and selling, so you can place your own blacksmith items in there. We're not going to do that. You can also change the amount of gold he's carrying. But for now, we just want to rename the chest. So we want this test chest blacksmith. You can call it what you will. No and yes, because we've already duplicated it and it's not connected to any references, but if it was, we'd just say yes anyway. So we've got the chest, so if we just find our chest now by putting in exactly what we called it, pretty much. Now this chest you're going to actually want out in the void, out the way, so that the player can't access it, or they could just steal all the stuff. The other way is actually placing it within the actual map, within the reach of the player, but actually clicking on the chest like so, going to lock it, and then requires key, and then the player cannot open it, and then you could even set a key to it and put it on the person if you wanted. All that is a different thing altogether. I'm just going to put it in the void. We'll put it somewhere logical, just there. The next thing you're going to need is an actual faction for your blacksmith that he can basically, which gives him the time that he's actually available to buy and sell stuff. So where we want to go up the top here. Under, let's have a think, it's probably staring me right in the face. Under character and faction, just clear that out. You'll get a whole list of factions there if your filter's empty. We just want to start from new, so we'll right click and new. Now the ID, well, all this is pretty simple. You just put whatever IDs in you want, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so there we go. I've just dumped my IDs in, just skipping bits of the video out. So next thing you want to do, you want to click can be owned, go into vendor, click vendor, and we're going to give him some sensible working hours. So you've got the start hour and the end hour. This is on a 24-hour clock, these timers, so make sure you don't put 8 till 8, otherwise it's just not going to work. So we'll probably work till about 4 o'clock because he's lazy. And then edit the location, click this as near self, otherwise it's going to specifically say that he can only actually sell you things within where he's normally stood. So if you walked up to him and he's on the forge, he's not going to work. So it has to be near self. Select the merchant container, so you double click on your container then after selecting the reference. And then under your vendor buy and sell list, type in the word vendor, and then you actually get a list of vendor items that you can sell, and you should see the blacksmith one. There it is. And that will actually do it for now. You can place conditions that have to be met for him to be able to buy and sell things. We're not going to go into that kind of detail today. So that should be it for his faction. You click OK. So we've got a faction ready for him, a chest ready for him, a time. Now all we have to do is make it so that the Shifty Jesus fellow actually knows how to go up and use the forge during specific times, and you can basically plan out his day. I have done a basic packages tutorial, but I'll just cover that again sort of in this one. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We need to now edit Jesus, so you can either go under actor and actually type in his name in the filter, so it's going to be Shifty for him, and you can right click edit, or you can just double click on your actor if he's in the actual area, edit base. So we'll just do it that way. So I've already made my actor. Like I said, you go ahead and create your actor, just make him nice and basic, get all the basic things done, and now we'll go through the parts that you have to fill in. So the first thing we need to do is go faction, and you've guessed it, we have to actually set the faction that we've just created for him. So it's going to be our test faction Blacksmith that I called it. This means that he now recognises that he's supposed to be selling what is listed within this faction's vendor section. Right click new. You can actually set factions like so crime factions, and to say that he's part of a town, so town factions. We're not going to do that because he's just in the test room. So the other factions that we're actually going to need is he's going to have to be a merchant in a sense. Cannot type today. So job merchant faction's going to have to be one. The other one's going to have to be a blacksmith sort of faction. So if you type in blacksmith, there should be like blacksmith faction there. Jobs blacksmith faction. That's the one. And that should be it for factions. Relationships, empty, keywords, empty. Go through all this, make sure certain data is there, like the aggro isn't on and that he's not pissed off or he's going to try and kill you. Now packages is the very interesting part. So at the moment, if we were to go into the room and we went up to him, he'd buy and sell us stuff between the allotted times, but generally he would just stand there and do absolutely nothing. So we want him to actually now act like a blacksmith. So you may or may not be very familiar with packages. If you're not very familiar, then just follow exactly what I'm going to do, sort of for your character, and just tweak it to what you want. Or you can go ahead and do packages if you know what you're doing and all you needed was the merchant part. Entirely up to you. So really all I'm going to cover from this point on is just how to do the packages. So we'll go ahead, right click and new. So we're going to do test blacksmith, and you might as well do your packages in terms of starting from the beginning of the day. So he's going to start work at 8, so we'll start with that. So usually the way that they list their packages within the actual game is they make it quite simple. They call it what they want, and then they'll put a time within the ID, so it makes it easy for yourself. So I'm going to put 8 to say he starts at 8, put an X, which means he's going to be working 4, and then how many hours are we having him work for? So if we're having him work up until 4 o'clock, and from 8, then that'll be 8 hours, I think. So it's going to be starts at 8, works for 8 hours, and finishes at 4. Now that doesn't actually put it into the package, that is just for your own reference. So first of all, we'll just go with sandbox. So you want the package template as sandbox. You want to click on the location, select reference, just click into your cell window and make sure that you are actually hovering over your blacksmith forge. And then you want to click near reference, select reference, double click on your forge, click OK, and now you see you've got a radius of 512. This means that within a radius of 512, I'm not sure what the scaling is in meters or what, or feet, but within that area of what you've selected, he will use everything in that area. He will sandbox around, so he'll go and use the forge, he'll go and use the rack. Sometimes they get stuck on just using the forge, but that's no biggie. You can set individual packages to point at individual things for specific times, but we're just going to do a general one for his work for now. So if that was all confusing, don't worry about it, just follow what I'm going to do. So at the moment we've said he's got to go to that forge, and now we just have to specify that it is at 8 o'clock. So the hour starting is 8, minutes remain as any, and the duration we put 8 hours because that's how long he's going to be there for. So this actually corresponds with what we set up for his merchant buying and selling. That is at the same time. It's a good idea to do that. So we'll go ahead and click OK. So at the moment, what he is going to do, he's going to work for 8 hours, starting at 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. So we're actually going to want him to do other things in the day. So we're just going to add an extra 2 packages, just to make it simple. And we're going to put Blacksmith sleep, because we want him to go to sleep at some point. So you're going to package template and type in what you want, sleep. Make sure we're hovering over the bed this time. You can set the bed ownership so that he knows it's his bed. You don't have to, as long as you've specified that's the bed he has to sleep in, but it's good to do that. Near editor location, and again, near reference, select reference, double click on the bed, click OK. Radius, we'll just stick to 512 again. So any bed within that radius of where you're pointing, which is the bed, so actually usually it's a good idea to set it like 20, so it really is the only bed he can see within that area. So he will use that bed. So again, I've missed something out in the ID just to help myself, so we'll say 10 o'clock at night for 10 hours, leaving him till 8, so we'll put times 10, and then we'll set that time in the schedule. So he's going to go to bed 10 o'clock, sleep for 10 hours. That means he'll then be up at 8, and then he'll go straight back to the forge. And then one more package, and this is quite an important package. You basically want one that says that whenever he's doing nothing else, when he isn't working, when he isn't sleeping, this is what he's going to do. So you want him to just wander around basically. So you want to go sandbox, near location. This time you can specify to just go to a certain place. So you could go in cell and put the name of a pub in, so he'd go to the pub to hang out when he's not doing anything else. But I haven't linked to the world, so I'm just going to basically put test, which is the name of the area. So he will actually just wander around in the test area. You don't set anything for the schedule, because any time. So we'll just put test wander. Okay. Now the order of the packages is the important thing. We want the Wonder package to be the last resort. So what the game does, it looks at that package and applies that. Looks at that package and applies it. But if it looks at a package and it isn't between the times that it says, it moves on to the next. So what would happen with the Wonder package is that would always be valid, because it would be, you know, higher than them too, so more important. So there'd be never a time where the Wonder package is no longer applicable. So that needs to be at the bottom. So it goes sleep, okay, he's not sleeping. Blacksmith, okay, he's not blacksmithing. Wonder, okay, he can do that. So hopefully that makes sense. So you just put them in an order that they need to be in. Again, that should be in my packages tutorial. So that should now be it. We should actually have a fully working merchant. I may have left something out. If I have, I'll edit it on the end of this point now. So let's go OK. Click Save. Okay, dialog boxes. Click Save, and I'll nip in game and I'll show you, hopefully, our blacksmith fully working. Okay, so here we are. We're in our room, and our blacksmith should be here. As you see, he's opted to go for the grindstone. And if we just go up to him.
Good morning.
So see what he's got for sale. And he's selling all sorts of stuff, all leveled stuff. So that's working absolutely fine. And he's working at his forge. And if we just wait till about 10 o'clock, he should actually go to bed. So our packages will be working correctly. And if you see, he goes to bed, and then he should sleep for about 10 hours. So we've created our very own blacksmith. He buys and sells stuff, and it's actually that simple. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial video. Hope it was helpful. Please visit my website. It's a little out of date at the moment, but it will be updated soon. I've got new mods on the way, and I'm redoing the followers pack because there was a bit of a problem with it, and it's very much so improved. So yeah, please, you can also follow me on Twitter. Everything's in the description. Just read it. I always have to keep going through this at the end of every video. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I shall speak to you next time.